Hey everyone, it's Jamie. Welcome back. In today's video, I will be showing you how I made this really pretty Easter wreath using the pancake method. If you don't know what the pancake method is, it's just a way of placing your mesh on your wreath in order for it to be flat so that it can fit in between a screen or storm door. So if you'd like to see how I make this, then please keep watching. I will be using one of the 14-inch Dollar Tree wreath frames. The 14-inch wreath ring has 6 sections, and by section I mean from one weld seam to the next weld seam. Now to wire the frame, it's a little bit different than how I would wire for a regular wreath. First, I'm going to take a pipe cleaner and wire the 2 inner rings together by placing the pipe cleaner in the middle of the section and giving it a couple of twists. Then I'm taking another pipe cleaner and placing it going diagonally, crisscrossing it over the seam weld, wiring the 2 outer rings together and twisting the pipe cleaner a couple of times. Then I do the same at the next seam weld. I will do this around the wreath frame, placing 6 pipe cleaners on the inner rings and 6 on the outer, giving me a total of 12 pipe cleaners. This is how it should look once the pipe cleaners are added. I will be using one roll of the 10-inch by 10-yard Polypro burlap mesh from Hobby Lobby, and I will be cutting 12 pieces to 20 inches long. Next, I'm going to make the ruffles for the wreath. By unrolling the piece of mesh and placing it face down, I lay something on the end to weigh it down. Then I go to the bottom, and with my thumbs in the middle, I walk my fingers up the mesh, bringing it toward me. It will end up looking like a bow. To add the ruffles to the wreath, I'm going to start on the 6 outer pipe cleaners by placing the ruffle horizontally with one finished edge pointing to the right and the other finished edge pointing to the left. I lay the ruffle in the middle of the pipe cleaner and give it a couple of twists. Then once it's secured, I'm going to spread the ruffle out and overlap the ends of the ruffles. It will look sort of like a doily. I will add the ruffles to each of the 6 outer pipe cleaners. And here's how it looks with these 6 outer ruffles added. Next, I'm going to do the same thing to the 6 inner pipe cleaners by locating an inner pipe cleaner and placing the ruffle horizontally and giving it a couple of twists. Then I spread out the ruffle, overlapping the ends. The inner ruffles should lay over the 2 outer ruffles. This is how it should look after the ruffles are added. Next, for ribbon tails, I'm going to be using this 2.5-inch wide wired ribbon from Dollar Tree and this 1.5-inch wide wired ribbon from Walmart. I will be cutting 12 pieces of each ribbon to 14 inches long and dovetailing the ends. To make the ribbon tails, first I'm going to lay the 1.5-inch ribbon in the middle on top of the 2.5-inch ribbon, making sure it's centered. Then I'm going to fold them in half to find the middle. Then I'm going to gather it in the center. This will form the ribbon tails. Next, I'm going to add the ribbon tails to the wreath by locating a pipe cleaner and laying the ribbon tails in the middle vertically, then giving it a couple of twists. Then I'm going to take the ribbon tails and bring them downward, laying them side by side. Then fanning the tails out so that they are alternating from 2.5-inch ribbon to 1.5-inch ribbon. I will add ribbon tails to each of the 12 pipe cleaners. Here's how it should look once the ribbon tails are added. Next, I'm going to go in and give each pipe cleaner a couple more twists and snip off the end, making sure to fold over the remaining pipe cleaner. I will be using this sign from Dollar Tree, and I will remove the hanger. Then I'm going to flip the sign over and hot glue 2 pipe cleaners to the back using a generous amount of glue. Next, I'm going to attach the sign to the middle of the wreath by feeding the legs of the pipe cleaner through the mesh to the back of the wreath, then securing the pipe cleaners with a few twists. You can cut the pipe cleaners off or just tuck them out of the way. It's up to you. Next, I'm going to make a bow. This bow is a little different than how I usually make a wreath bow, but because this wreath is meant to be able to use between a storm door, the bow needs to be not as fluffy. So first, I'm going to take this 1.5 inch wide wire ribbon from Walmart. I'm going to dovetail the end, then I'm going to measure out an 8-inch tail. Give it a twist, then slide it in my Bodabra. Then I'm going to place my Bodabra where that slit is on the 10-inch line. Then I measure out a 5-inch loop. Then go to the other side and measure out another 5-inch loop. Then I go to the other side and measure out another 5-inch loop. Then I measure out 8 inches for the tail, cut that off, then dovetail the ends. So I will have 2 loops on one side, and on the other side there will be 2 tails and 1 loop. For the next layer, I'm using this 1.5 inch wide ribbon from Walmart, dovetailing the end, then I measure out a 7.5 inch tail, give it a twist, and slide it in my Bodabra. You want to make sure that you put the tail in on the side where the 2 loops are, not where the 2 tails are like I almost did. Then I'm measuring out a 4.5 inch loop. Then I measure out another 4.5 inch loop on the other side. Then I go to the other side and measure another 4.5 inch loop. Then I cut a 7.5 inch tail and dovetail the end. For the last layer, I'm using this 1.5 inch wide ribbon, also from Walmart, and I'm dovetailing the end and measuring out a 7-inch tail, giving it a twist, then sliding it in my Bodabra on the side with the 1 pink loop. Then I measure out a 3.5 inch loop. Go to the other side and measure out another 3.5 inch loop. Then I measure out another 3.5 inch loop on the other side. Then I cut a 7-inch tail and dovetail the end. Then I slide the bow out of the Bodabra and secure it with a pipe cleaner. Next, I'm going to attach the bow by feeding the legs of the pipe cleaner through the mesh to the back of the wreath and secure it with a couple of twists, then fold and tuck it out of the way. Then I flip the wreath over and begin to fluff out my bow. And here's how the wreath turned out. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button before you leave. I hope you all are having a wonderful day. I wanted to thank you all for watching, and I'll talk to y'all later. Bye!